What's up, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome back to Project Unbroken's Monday Motivation. Today I want to talk about something that I have discussed in the past, but I want to look at this in a different light. One of the things that Greg and I talk about that can be very difficult in your process of transformation is when you have to let go of people, places, or things that you know are no longer serving your best interest. And when it comes to your mental health, typically the hardest thing to let go of is people. We have these relationships that we grow comfortable with. And, you know, not only are you going to miss this person when you have to cut things off, they're going to miss you, and you know that. And they at some level, they need you, maybe more than you need them if you're the one who's coming to the conclusion that you need to let them go. And I've probably told this story on one of our videos in the past, but I remember very clearly one night, I think I was like 18 or 19, I was in college at the time, or I was taking some classes at our local community college, not doing anything, not putting in any effort really. And I was out with some friends, and we were all getting high, and I was supposed to leave, split off with them to go to a class, and I let everybody know, and they were like, come on, like, you don't need to go to that shit, you can miss a class, blah, blah, blah. And I got to the point where I was like, all right, yeah, I'll skip the class. And one guy in the car was like, yeah, that's the Miller that I know. And I was like, God damn, like, that kind of struck a nerve with me. I was like, I'm the dude who can't keep up with his responsibilities, can't manage his basic day-to-day tasks that he needs to move forward in life. Like, I'm that guy. That's the me that he knew. And it was at that point in time where I came to this conclusion where I was like, all right, I need to start cutting some people out of my life, because not only are they not serving me at any level, but I'm not doing them any favors either. Like, this is we're just dragging each other down this pit. And I was kind of thinking this whole idea of what is an easy way to do this. Like, how do you cut things off, or how do you cut people off, or how do you quit people that aren't good for you? And this just hit me today. It's not necessarily other people that you need to cut off that is the most difficult thing in this process. You need to cut off the person that you used to be, or the person that you no longer want to be. You need to let go of that person first and foremost. And that is going to be, hands down, one of the most challenging yet rewarding experiences that you're going to go through in this whole process. And the kicker is, it's ongoing, and you'll have to continue this process over and over and over again for the rest of your life. And I think this is something that I'm kind of coming to terms to now at this point in my life, because I've had so much change over the last 9 months, 10 months, and a lot of us have. Everybody's gone through this COVID thing. You've had changes in your schedule, changes in your lifestyle, changes in your relationships, changes maybe in your income. A lot of things have been shifted around. And then for me, on top of that, I sold a business which was basically my identity for almost 10 years. Like, I was the owner of this gym, I was this coach, I was this trainer. I had all these hats that I wore that basically my ego assumed that I was that person forever. And, making that shift is just as hard now, going from, the owner of business X to the owner of business Y. It's just as hard as it was when it was, Matt the heroin addict to Matt the person who no longer does heroin and who doesn't, think the way that he used to think. Like, whenever we have a major shift or change in our lifestyle, it's really easy to grasp onto the things in the past that were comfortable for us. And even sometimes the decisions that we make, if they're not the right decisions, it can make our life really difficult and hard on a day-to-day basis. Way back when, I'm talking, withdrawal, just dealing with all the side effects of addiction, going to court, going to jail, just in that whole process. It was really hard, but it wasn't as hard as change seemed. It was easier for me to struggle on a day-to-day basis and be comfortable with that struggle rather than make some simple yet difficult changes in my life, which would turn out to make my life a lot easier. What I didn't want to do was be uncomfortable. And I was comfortable with, if you want to say comfortable, I guess is the way to describe it. I was comfortable with how shitty my life had become. I was comfortable being dope sick. I was comfortable, being in and out of the court system and just dealing with that stress and losing my license and, trying to get my license back and then house arrest, prison. I was comfortable with that because it was the devil that I knew. It was not unfamiliar to me. What was unfamiliar was, opening up a business, paying my taxes, just becoming more responsible with my day-to-day tasks and chores and, putting, like I talk about the bricks, one brick every day, like making the right decisions in an effort to bring me to a better place. And, I think that's something that a lot of people struggle with. And it's a reason that a lot of people, stay where they are even though they know they can do better, or they maybe self-sabotage and they start doing a little bit better, and deep down you might not feel like you deserve to be doing better, or you don't deserve the good things that are coming to you into your life, and we just subconsciously tend to screw things up and we don't know why. And I think it takes some really it takes some deep work, and it takes some really hard looks in the mirror and being honest with yourself and saying, I have these limiting self-beliefs that no longer serve me, and I have to let them go. Like, I don't want to be the dude that lets everybody down. I don't want to be the guy that doesn't stand behind his word. It's easy to do that stuff sometimes because, again, we're comfortable with it. But if you get used to the idea of just sticking with something new for a short period of time, that becomes your new normal. That becomes your new comfortable relatively quickly. Like, you get to this new place where it's just like what you do. Like, that's who you are now. And you don't miss the old you, just like you're not going to miss the people that you cut out of your life that are no longer going to serve your best interest. And, that kind of internal battle that we all have with ourselves can be, some of the most difficult ones. But there are tools that you can use to kind of quiet that negative voice down. And I think it's really important that you consistently practice using those tools, and you just stick with them until that's the new normal. I hate that phrase, I'm sorry, but for you, not COVID related, but the new you. Like, that's who you are now. You're the guy that lives up to his word. You're the guy that takes care of himself, or girl. You're the guy or girl that puts the time in to be a mentally stable person, a non-toxic person, somebody that is good to the people that they're around. That can be you. I never thought that could be me. For a long time, I didn't think I was going to be able to be that person. I didn't think I was going to be able to be a, loving, faithful husband, a responsible, caring dad. Like, I just didn't think that was in the cards for me. And for a long time, just because I thought of myself that way, that's kind of, what I based my decisions around. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm this dude who's just like a piece of shit. So that's the decision. I'm going to base my decisions off of that image of myself. And it wasn't until I started using, like, I think what a lot of people would consider some pretty woo-woo tactics to change the subconscious beliefs that I had about myself. And, you know, I've talked about this stuff before. I'm talking about hypnotism for self-confidence and self-esteem. I'm talking about affirmations, you know, the kind of thing, it sounds crazy and, you know, you might think it's bullshit, but, you know, these affirmations that you tell yourself, you say, I am a good person. I do make good decisions based on my mental health. I am capable of accepting love. Whatever you're struggling with or whatever you don't think you can do, just saying those things and telling yourself those things, whether it's out loud in your mind with your eyes closed before bed when you wake up, write it down on a piece of paper, read it to yourself 30 times a day. That shit sinks in. And I think it's imperative that you do this work. It's like doing reps in the gym. Like, you just have to keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. And at first you might think like, oh, this shit's corny. But once you hit that, you know, 10th day, you start to believe this shit. Like, you start to believe the things that you're saying. You start to, you know, imagine where you want to be. Imagine what your life looks like. Imagine who you're with. Imagine what kind of shape you're in. Imagine how you feel. Imagine what kind of car you're driving. Imagine what kind of shoes you're wearing, what kind of watch you're wearing. You get to a certain point and you'll realize if you do this enough, like, that's where you go. Like, you're making a map basically in your mind, in your subconscious, of where you want to go, and you start basing your decisions on a day-to-day basis off of that person. You start making decisions that person in your head looks like. Like, what do I look like in 3 years? Who am I with in 3 years? And that's kind of what you start to base everything around, instead of, you know, making your decisions based off of the piece of shit person that you thought you were 2 years ago. I mean, I did that for a long time. Like, if I, you know, cheated on a girlfriend or whatever, for years I would be like, I'm this fucking asshole who cheats on his girlfriend. Like, you're not who you were yesterday, but your brain will cling on to those decisions that you've made. And this is, you know, you see the memes on Instagram and everything where it's like, you know, you want to go to bed, but then you think of something you said 5 years ago and it keeps you up all fucking night. That's what our brains do. Sometimes you gotta hack this fucking crazy ass computer, and there are tools to do it. There's a lot of them. I mean, if you get on YouTube and look up hypnotism for success, you're gonna get a whole shitload of resources to go off of. Self-affirmations, self-hypnotism, guided meditation, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to try, pick something, stick with it. And these things are very passive. Like the hypnotism thing, like, I just put headphones on and I listened to it as I fell asleep, and it was really cool because it was like, hey, if you fall asleep, no big deal. Like, this shit's getting in to your subconscious anyway. And I'm not gonna lie, like, it was, I think when I started those things, I was like 23, somewhere around there, when I was like trying to get clean off of dope. And it was years later. I was clean. I was opening this business. I was talking to my dad. We were driving down the road, and he was like, you know, what are some of the things that have like brought you from where you were to where you are now? And I was telling him, I was like, it's crazy. And, you know, I've never told anybody this before, but I did these hypnotism things, and I still keep it up now. And while I was telling him, I was like, holy shit. Like, I am where I imagined I wanted to be 5 years ago at the time. You know, now it's 15 years ago. But I was, you know, with a person that I kind of imagined I would be with. I was driving the car I wanted to be driving. My body looked the way I wanted it to look like. I was in the kind of shape that I wanted to be in. I was happy, like I imagined myself being happy in that, you know, in that hypnotism thing, the guided meditation. And ever since that point in time, I've been pushing this thing. And it's not the only way to get there. I mean, you can do a lot of different things. But either way, like, you have to get inside your mind. You have to program it the way you want it to work. You can't just let it run wild. It's just like your body. If you just eat McDonald's and fucking sit around all day, you know what that's going to lead to as far as like your physical health is concerned. It's the same with mental health. If you just kind of let it run rampant and you're fucking looking at Instagram memes and, thoughts all day long, your mind is going to go down a certain path. Or you can go down a different path if you choose to put the right things in here. And it takes a little bit of effort. We have to make changes, but they don't have to be drastic. A little change every day goes a long way. And you just build off that. It's that one brick a day. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. I hope you have an awesome Monday, a great start to your week. Make one change today, stick with it, and let's catch up. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the comments, the subscribes, the shares, the like button smashes, all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. We're really looking to make an effort and help just this whole recovery community at large as best we can with what we know. And you guys are a big part of that, so thank you. I will talk to you soon. Have a great night. See ya.